Today is Sunday, August 18th. It's 9:47 a.m. Trading has been a very, very daunting task. And this journey that I have embarked on has been a very, very isolated movement. And for the past few days, I have been fortunate enough to reflect on how I have been trading, and it has come to pass now to truly see what's really going on in my trading and pinpoint exactly the reason why I have been losing all these prop firm challenges. So one of the reasons that I've noticed about losing these prop firm challenges is that when I get into a losing situation, I would dig myself into a deeper losing streak. So what happens is that I would have 6 or 7 prop firm challenges. So I would have 4 funding pips challenges that are open. I would have 3 funding traders prop firm challenges open, and I would have 3 aqua funding challenges open. And so what happens is it becomes a domino effect as I attempt to save that particular session to become a profitable day. But ultimately what happens is, because my strategy and my psychology is broken, or my strategy and my setup formation hasn't been fully thought out. So these deficiencies, the market is bringing it out, and market is calling me out and saying, "Hey, look, this is the situation." And all of a sudden, I start to realize that I had a $180 gain the next day on funding pips. Then I keep trading it and realize that it had been dwindled down to close to breaching the challenge. Then I shift to another account, and now it's currently up $50, and so for a 5K account, it's $5,050, and I'm trading it. And then I find myself dropping that account over again. And then I shift to another account, to aqua funded, and then I find myself that the challenge has been, and I trade that account using MT5, and what I do is I selected a day at a point where it's really essentially now the market is going down for that day, even though the market, the NASDAQ and the Dow is at an all-time high. I've selected a strategy where the Forex pair that I'm using, especially the UJ, has reached the point where it's in decline as it resets itself for another movement up. And when that happens, these streams of accounts that I have bought are essentially blown, okay? Because what I would do is, specifically, if I were to identify specifically what is happening is that I would use a long strategy when the market is going down. That's a problem. And so I would blow one account after another account and another account and another account. And soon I find myself now with two funding pips 5K accounts. One of them I managed to pass the phase 1, but now it has been drawn down significantly so that I would have to make back the $450 the break-even point, and then make on top of that make 5% in order to pass the phase 2 challenge. That's the funding pip side. And then I have a funding traders, which is a 10K account, and it has been drawn down to the almost a halfway point where the maximum daily drawdown is. Okay, and then I find myself with Aqua funded, where essentially all my prop firm challenges has been closed out. Okay, blown. So far in my Aqua funded, I have 11 attempts and 11 failures. And I'll go into the detail if I am so fortunate, God willing. So there's 3 prop firm challenges that are currently that I'm taking part, and one of the primary reason is this: when the going gets tough, I tend to just fall apart, psychologically speaking. And what that means is that I don't know at that moment whether I am so convinced at that moment that what I'm doing is going to prevail, even though my strategy and my psychology is completely broken. Just like making this video here. When I go onto YouTube, there's so many people who are successful, and they are the popular ones. For me, at this stage, before I become profitable, I pray to God that I'm given the opportunity to become profitable, that I'm documenting this journey before I finally cross to the other side. Okay? Finally crossing to the other side. But I'm not there yet. So I'm documenting this situation where I'm like, what I'm attempting to do is pinpoint exactly for me at this juncture, what am I lacking? So these, right now, from what I'm seeing right now, there are 2 things that I'm lacking. One, definitely a definitive strategy that fits the down market. That's the strategy that I'm missing. That's one. 2 is to attach my conviction to the thesis that I have to determine whether the market is going up or going down. So that's number 2. Number 3 is the psychology of learning at that moment that whatever thing that I have it is impossible to turn the tide of what is inevitable of becoming, and then fold shop at that moment. I don't know why, but Jesus Christ was standing next to the governor of the province where he has been captured because everybody on earth wanted him to be captured because they disagreed with his teachings. So he's standing there, and the governor brings out a murderer, lifetime murderer, a serial murderer. I think his name is Barabbas. So the governor asks the crowd, who do you want to be freed, right? And the crowd says, Barabbas, free him. And the crowd says, what did the crowd say? They chanted. They said, crucify him. Crucify Jesus, right? So here's Jesus Christ. And he's like, there's nothing even God has written into the Bible the way the things will unfold. God wrote in the Bible, that is how it's going to unfold, as mankind chose to free a serial murderer instead of Jesus Christ. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. That's how it works. That's it. There's no turning back. It is written in the passages of the words that are accepted now by mankind as to be the truth. And yet, at that moment, the whole world of man persecuted Jesus Christ and executed him on the cross. Crucify him, they said. Not once, multiple times. Crucify him, right? Now that is what it's like. That is what it's like for me on a personal note. Not everybody else. I don't know how their journey's going. So these people who are, I can assure that these people who are, I'm looking at these people who are profitable. I don't see why anybody else would be looking at somebody who's not profitable, which is me right now, currently. But I'm documenting it. I want to document it so that ultimately when I get to the point where I'm profitable, then this will be meaningful, because I'm saying that every little bump on that bridge that got me from where I was not, I am now, okay? And so I'm watching these people, and they're like making like profitable day, what they do, and then I get, when I post my YouTube video, there are people who are profitable. They say, hey, you're doing things wrong. Of course I'm doing it wrong. Don't you get it? Of course I'm doing it wrong. That's why I'm not profitable. Okay, you're stating the obvious. Okay, I'm right, you're right. I'm not profitable, right? But I'm documenting this journey. So what I've noticed about this particular thing that I've noticed about my trading at this moment is that I would, it's like a, Domino's. Maybe I'll have lunch. Maybe I'll go to Domino's for lunch. I don't know. I mean, Domino's, right? Domino's, you know what happens with Domino's? Domino's, you have these little, for example, just one sample, okay? So it could be made of, wood, it could be made of metal, it could be made of rocks, it could be made of all sorts of things, okay? It could be made of cheese, it could be whatever, it could be made of burgers, whatever it is. But you have one domino, you have another domino, you have another domino, you have another domino, domino. So originally, I suppose it was used for some sort of, because it had stuff on it. And it was used for some purpose. I'm not going to look it up on the wiki or whatever it is. So, the primary method of using the domino at that juncture is to create a particular application of the domino, which essentially is placing the domino in a certain way and then knocking one of them over so that all the others fall. So it's called a domino effect. And either I become a diamond in this industry to become a profitable day trader, or I'm going to be seeing a series and sequence of setups that occurs in a pocket of instances where the dominoes start to erode and fall, okay? And exactly what happens. So if I were to just recount how many, so for this sequence, which has been going on for 4 years, it's like, so I've taken my personal trading style of sawtooth action, which is I'd make money, I lose money, I make money, lose money. I've carried it over to platform challenges. Essentially, I would make some and then I would lose and I blow the challenge. I would pocket more money. So essentially, taking every penny that I had in day trading, and thank God that I'm still employed as a dishwasher. Taking every penny that I have and dumping it in and seeing it go up a little bit and then down, but the cost, despite the fact that the cost has been total, I'm able to lose less because when I make trades on my personal account, it would be gone within like one or 2 days. But I'm able to take that account and then carry it over, right? And so to give a clear picture of it, so I would have like four. I had like 4 funding pips 5K challenges, and then I had 3 aqua funded 5K challenges, and then I had 4 funded traders challenges. So 4, 3, 7, and then 4. That's 11 challenges that are there. Then I experienced in the past couple of days, realized that I have started to blow the account because I am in a phase where I am not, or have already without luck. If I am lucky that I'm able to, as the market fits in with what I want to do, right? But at that moment, just like Jesus Christ standing, this is God standing in front of these people, mankind, who could not see who he is, decided to murder him. Every man on earth wanted to kill Jesus Christ, okay? And ultimately they did. They strung him up on a cross, and he said to his father, he said, what is it? He says, I give up my spirit to you, Father. That's what he says, right? At the end, that's what he says. He says, his fleshly body has been tormented and beaten down and sacrificed, as is written. And there was nothing that any mankind, there was no other, even like, it's the cock crowed 3 times, right? When Peter did that, right? So these things are in living color happening. Today's Sunday. I must be like channeled in. I don't know what it is. Anyway, so that's what happened. So this reality of that particular psychological situation where the stop loss needs to happen because of this domino effect. This domino effect is a psychological thing that I cannot deviate from because it is so difficult to self-control. I don't realize at that moment, when I'm in the heat of trading and I'm switching from one account to one account, after one account blows and the other account blows and the other account blows, until I get a point where like I'm at the threshold of, at a point where like few dollars from like failing the challenge, my mind is still on the fact that it is impossible to deviate from the overall result and a concrete definition of the thought that has been cemented in the minds of everyone else who's chanting, crucify him, right? There's nothing that can change because it has been written. There's nothing, there could be some sort of there was none of that whatsoever. There's no what if. What if? There was no what if. What if has been tossed out. What if has been tossed out. It is no longer a consideration, and they're going like a freight train going downhill without brakes. Okay? On a smooth, finely greased tracks. And there's nothing. Even the wind is in the back, pushing it down. Nothing else could stop it. It's a freight train waiting to happen as it lost its brakes, and it's going and going and going. Okay? So that's the point. So those are the two factors that are a significant contribution to the depreciation of the funds that I haven't placed into it in order for me to essentially join these individuals who are, I have this image of this guy, this Will SSFX. Obviously, this guy's profitable. I've watched many of his videos. He's profitable. I mean, he's got like evidence of it. He's got like, what is his name? William Aldridge or whatever it is. His content is excellent. This one here, he's got a 10K profit target. He's got a 10K profit, right? Right? So now that I finally pinpoint to the fact that careening out of control, even Jesus Christ knew what was going to happen, and that's what happened. Okay? He knew he was going to be beaten down. Okay? And he was going to be strapped to the cross, and he's going to bleed, and mankind will crucify him. And he knew it. And Christ was crucified on a cross. Right? It's inevitable. It happened. That's how it works. Even if you're not a believer of Jesus Christ, mankind's psychological and its behavior is a prominent example of what happens to individuals called crowd mentality, crowd psychology. It's called a crowd. It's a small sample of what mankind can do. It's called a crowd psychology. Look it up. It's crowd psychology. It is a small sample of what happened in a bigger scope where everyone was chanting, "Crucify him," right? That's what happens. And momentarily and psychologically, as I, on a psychological level, defaulted to oblivion and get into the situation where I am delving. It's like what is that? Like in the Marvel universe, there's the Ant-Man, and he goes into this inner space where he gets lost and he gets trapped and he can't get out sometimes, and he has to have certain assistance from external sources to bring him out, right? And so when I'm in that psychological situation where I'm in a trance, where my mind, it's like I've realized how frail this brain is. Essentially, what would make these individuals who are in front of God and unable to see the taste of what his greatness is, right? His greatness is. They're not able to see the greatness of what he is. It's like what's her name? The chimp doctor. I mean, what is her name? So she goes into a tribe of monkeys, of chimps, and then she studies them for all her life, okay? But the reality is her brain development is far more advanced into being a human being than the chimps, because the chimps' advancements into being a human being is lacking. They have the evolutionary ladder. There's a ladder. They haven't crossed over to the other side, and so they lack a whole evolutionary ladder in order to. I don't know how many ladders there might be, but they lack at least one evolutionary ladder to get to this woman who is studying them, who wrote books about it, who sat down with anyway, and they lacked the evolutionary ladder. So when this trading occurs, it is me. I lack the evolutionary ladder to get to the point where I'm getting a payout. That is essentially what happened. That's why I lost more than 200 prop firm challenges. That's it. It's the reality. That's the truth. So what have I learned to change this? I've been trying to figure this out for almost 4 years, because on my personal account I would lose it too, and I would lose it again. I would lose it again. I would lose it again, but I still kept at it. To get to this point, or at the doorsteps of being in the crowd where Jesus Christ is standing there, and then this governor's there, whatever his name is, and there's Barabbas, and then I find myself chanting, "Crucify him, crucify him," right? I'm at the throes of linking my day trading. It's amazing. It's definitely amazing. I'm at the throes of linking Jesus Christ to this juncture in my trading career where this is the point. This is the area of significance that has been hampering me for more than 4 years. It is this fact that there is a evolutionary limitation to where I am to get to the point where my mind believes that it is. And that's why I'm trading the funded challenges. But there are two factors that I'm going through. Which one is the experience that I gain by performing these trades at the cost of all the money that I have in the whole world, at the prospects of finally getting payouts. So what is lacking is this. I focused on long strategies only. If I look at how I've come to this point, I have been focusing on the long strategy without focusing on the short strategy. I did not, as God as my witness, I don't know how this is possible after more than 4 years of trading, that the markets go up and markets go down. The concept has been just like that little thing right there, just like that thing right there. Look at the V right there, right? So markets come down, markets go up. Inversely, markets. That's how it works. That's how the market works. But in my mind, there was a evolutionary lack to understand how that works. It's amazing to me, right? I've mentioned this a few times. Here's my credentials. I'm telling you, this is the truth. I work for a company called Microchip, and first of all, I graduated from a university. I passed classes in 2 universities. I passed classes on Boise State University for the first 2 years. Then I moved into University of Idaho to get an electrical engineering degree. I hated electrical engineering. I would study math and I would hate it. I would my God, my eyes would almost bleed trying to get this, but I passed. I passed. I got a job as an engineer, and for 6.5 years, I worked as an engineer, and I was promoted twice in a job that I just hated. I even told my ex-wife, I said, hey, let's get out of here. Let's move. So that's the credential. I mean, this is a company that is, I mean, this is a company that is excelling. It's a world-class company at that time as well. That's why they were advancing. They had a significant edge. They have something that fits into being a successful company, and they allowed me to work there for 6.5 years, right? 6.5 years. That's not easy to do. You can't fake that. So that's the credentials that I have. Okay, that is the credentials that I have. And then when I come to this day trading thing and prop firm challenges, I can understand why this SMB Capital, apparently the founder was mentoring this individual who's not of the same firm that he founded, and this individual sent him a letter or an email saying, I've succeeded at everything that I've done in my whole existence. That's what he said. But this day trading thing is something else. He's failed at everything and he's thinking about quitting, right? That's how hard it is. Why is it so hard? It's because of this evolutionary ladder that I must cross in order to figure this out. What is that for me? Once I get a payout, then I'll know, because when I make that change and it becomes profitable, then I know what it is. But at this point, I haven't gotten a payout. I've lost every challenge that I've undertaken. And fortunately for me, there's only this God who believes in me at this moment, okay? Every mankind who believes they're Christians, even they're having doubts, okay? But this guy's just wasting his time. This guy's wasting his time gambling and wasting his time. He's 55 years old. He doesn't know that in a few more years, he's going to be like white. I mean, I got white hairs coming out of my eyebrows right here, right? I got white hairs all over the place. The second factor is when I don't have any money, it hides the white hairs I don't have to pay for bleaching, right? Coloring my hair. Oh, I have to shave it off. It's cheap. I go to Costco, get like packs of like 30 razors, and I use that multiple times because I'm spending every penny that I have in the promise of getting a payout, getting a return on this endeavor that I've undertaken, because I've been locked in with these background things because I can't get a job anywhere now, right? My 2 siblings made sure of it, but that's all right. That's okay. This lady who goes to live with the chimps to study and write about it and understand, and because I think in the background, I think she was attempting to figure out how she can communicate with these chimps to figure out how they can pull them out of this evolutionary ladder, because they're the closest to humankind, and the brain is of similar size, right? Similar size with the makeup, and so she was attempting to figure out a way to bridge the gap, punch through that evolutionary ladder to make that connection and pull them out of the chimp world to bring them into the human world. To bring them, it's like God grabbing them and bringing him up to the other side to become a human being. How great! There was this Saturday Night Live sketch. So this doctor was teaching this monkey, and he was successful. He was successful in teaching this monkey to become a human being. So they had this press conference. This is Saturday Night Live, and the monkey came onto the front, and the monkey was talking, and the first word out of his mouth was he he sexed me. How funny is that, huh? Mankind brought this monkey into the human world, and the first word, first sentence this monkey says, this evolutionary doctor abused him. Anyway, that's how it works. So the reality is transitioning from this evolutionary limited. I gotta document. I have to document this. I have to document this as I progress, because I'm going to have a tremendous laugh when I get to the other side. But at this moment, I want to document it. I want to document every pain, every detail of this instance where I am struggling. And I want to detail the people who are watching me do this, and they're shaking their head. Even the people who have faith in them, they're shaking their head. You're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. Even the most staunch believers and say, you're never going to make it. No way, right? So I'm at this point of looking at my past trades to define why the market goes up and does this, and why my P&L does this. Why does it do that? It's because of those three factors that I've mentioned. One of them is, now if I can remember this again, I have to remember it. The first part is my setup is not clearly wrought out. It hasn't been clearly defined. It's okay. If I do anything in a bull market, there's even a statement called rising tide lifts all boats. Receding tide only lifts certain boats. Receding tides only floats certain 1% of those bridges, the boats. Even experienced traders don't trade in those markets. They just take a break. They're out. They're not doing anything. But for those who are savvy, they're able to take advantage of when it's going up, taking advantage when it goes down. They're able to trade both markets because they're experienced in both markets. What I lacked was a psychological understanding of the difference between the rising market and a down market. And what I envision is every day it's going to go up. That's the mindset I have. It's going to go up. It's like me sitting there, it's going to go up, but it's not. It has a limitation. It has a ceiling. There is the evolutionary ladder, that bump that cannot be broken through unless evolution occurs. And so I have defined these things, which it looks to me, that's the primary reason why. I got to go to lunch in a little bit. Let's see, what time is it? 10:30, 10:26. So this evolutionary lack to understand and understand what's going on is, in reality, is the lack of being able to trade. I could employ any strategy when the market is going up. That's long. Any long strategy will work. I could add. I could go large here, small here. I could just go one size in, and then I could trade. I could put like eight things in. Whatever strategy I have on a long way, it'll work because the market is going up. The problem is when it pulls back and I look at it and go, oh my God, it's going to be detrimental, and I get feared out. I would like sell too soon kind of thing. That happens, right? It always happens. But that's a better statement than saying, oh, I lost everything, right? So the reality is, what I've noticed is that I have not been studying the downtrending market and how I can take advantage of that situation so that I can distinguish between uptrending market and a downtrending market. It seems so easy. All I have to do is look at the moving averages, but the moving averages actually at a point where that transition occurs, it's missing a huge chunk of it. By the time I see it, it could be reversing back. And so there's a lagging feature that is cumbersome. But there is a professional who, she has been very successful, and she knows about it, how it works, because certain time frame, certain moving averages cross over, and at that point there could be certain events that occur. I suppose that's something that I can that can be looked at to look at it, to help me adjust my strategy, right? So what I am lacking in so far is that understanding between the rising market and the downtrending market. And when the market is downtrending, I can't be looking at every little bump thinking that that's a reversal, major trend reversal, and commit to it and lose everything. And then after I lose that part of it, lose that account and go to another account, lose that account and lose. It's a perpetual cycle of washing away all these funded challenges, these challenges. And that's why, even though I somehow get lucky and my mind is pristine enough to stay out of that particular zone of downtrending market where my advantage is negative, okay? Where my advantage is negative. When it's negative, then I can't do anything about it. So I am. It's a clear. See, when the domino falls, and when there's nobody else to interfere with it, inevitably it's going to fall. And what's going to happen is, due to the physical laws of the universe, it's going to fall in a particular direction, and its geometric shape has been staged so that the gap is shorter, smaller than the height of the domino is going to fall. When it falls, it's going to start knocking things over. That's inevitable. It's inevitable. If I set up these blocks of dominoes in a forest and then stack it up in such a way that it obeys a strategic plan that is governed by the physical laws, then if the gap is still shorter than the height of the dominoes in every place, and it falls in a certain direction, at the end of it, the last one will fall. Okay, so far I have 3 platform challenges. 1, 2, 3 will fall if I don't change the course of the path that I've chosen. It will fall. It's inevitable. It's sure. Crucify him, they said. Crucify the God. That's what they said. Crucify God. Crucify our Maker. That's what they said. And that's how it's written in the Bible. And sure enough, they crucified our Lord Jesus Christ, right? I'm a Catholic, by the way. Crucify him, that said. Crucify him. Domino 1. Crucify him. Domino 2. Crucify him. Domino 3. That's what they said. The reason I remember that is because I was in church, and we have a reading, the passages, and read through that. And everybody in the audience follows the deacon and a priest, and we read through it. And that's how it works. Everybody else is chanting "Free Barabbas." So this is something. I'm looking at the data, which I should have done like day one. I should have seen this from day one. And I've reviewed quite a few. There's so many YouTube videos out there. There's so many YouTube videos, and all good because they serve a particular purpose. My videos don't serve any purpose whatsoever because it's not useful. It is not useful. I admit it right here. It's not useful. My videos are not useful whatsoever because it is currently documenting failure. Nobody likes failures. They want to be successful, and these people are documenting success, right? So this payout screen is still there. what I have to do is document this for my own purpose, because I need to learn from it and make changes in order to get to that point where I break through that evolutionary ladder. That evolutionary ladder is understanding that my mind is frail. It's like me being part of the chimp clan, trying to understand the mankind who has come over to talk. But all I hear is the Peanut sketch where these children, Charlie Brown, and then the teacher, their sound sounds like a muffled wah 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 wah. That's how it sounds. At this stage, it sounds like that because I haven't crossed to the other side. The pristine understanding the language on the other side is different, as is in the comic strip Peanuts. Essentially, you have Charlie Brown, who communicates with other kids in a language like the chimps, who communicate very well because they're in a world where the chimps are. They're able to communicate with their body language and their actions in a language that they have established for themselves, so they can communicate. And they have certain way of communicating. If they're hungry, they're communicating whether they have to move into a certain location. They look at the eye coordination. They see danger. They see safety. They see certain things in their own chimp language. Where humankind has evolved to place those particular situations in a language that can be communicated with a single word. So I get to this point now to understanding my frailty as an individual who is currently a professional day trader. I am a professional day trader. I am, but currently not profitable yet. So the effort right now is understanding what my frailty is, clearly substantiating that there is mankind, there is the chimp kind. And I see that. At this moment, I'm frail because I have this amygdala as one of the reasons why I'm unable to control myself in a situation where I'm in severe drawdown. Stop losses is one of them that I can do that on an intraday on a specific sequence of trades, but I need to also fully grasp the concept that at a certain point, God has made me into a being where I cannot understand that current sequence of events has brought me to not being able to understand the whole totality of that trade session. That whole trade session is over, but I don't know it. It's over. My mind is ill prepared to handle what is happening. It is unable to grasp the concept of what is happening that will allow me to break free from the situation without great upheaval. And at that moment, it's even harder. It's like doing calculus while running. It's hard enough sitting down and doing this calculus thing hard, but at that moment when especially like I suppose it'd be like in Vietnam and trying to go through a course of like studies in like geometry in like a theory of relativity. He's trying to figure out what theory of relativity is while the Ho Chi Minh surrounds you and they're about to do some serious damage. And you're trying to your mind is preoccupied in trying to figure out the theory of relativity and of string theory, right? Trying to figure out what string theory is and trying to figure out what's at the end of the universe, right? What's 1 centimeter beyond the universe? What's there? You're trying to figure that out, okay? You're trying to figure out what's 1 centimeter beyond the universe. You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's the same universe. So I'm looking at this situation. Now I've come to the past, and now I understand. I understand why somebody who has been successful at everything they did, and now I see why. I now see why a person who has succeeded at everything they did, but they find it so difficult to become a consistently profitable day trader, is because their inability to see themselves. That is why. And I mentioned this in another video. Now I'm confirming it. It is. Once I get profitable, then I'll understand far more. So this point, there's this side of me that needs to be profitable that day. But I have to understand that I have limitations. I have to understand that I cannot win at everything. At that moment, I will win, but not at that time. Okay? Even in battle, I mean, if I was a general and I have these soldiers and I have to win, right? And if I commit that day, I know that it's going to be a slaughter. But I can pull back. That's why in the times of George Washington, guerrilla warfare was so successful. Because these British soldiers would be in essentially they're menacing. They're really menacing because they're so structured. They're so disciplined, right? So they line up because they know that a bullet will knock them out, but they know that based on the numbers and ferocity, they're going to dismantle any challenges, any opposing forces. They know that. But a guerrilla warfare is hiding in certain locations and then on a sequential basis knocking them down so that the numbers are released to the point where the forces are at a significant advantage to overrun them. And that's why guerrilla warfare was so successful in the times of George Washington, right? Because you don't want to be lining up 1-to-1. So that's where it is. So now I'm at a situation, I have to admit, I have to accept the fact, which even though I know that I'm deficient, but I cannot accept the fact that I'm deficient. I cannot accept the fact that I am incapable of understanding because this ego inside me cannot accept that. I cannot accept even so simple of certain things. I cannot accept the fact, even if I know that I'm deficient. I know I'm deficient. I have a disability. I am incapable of understanding. I accept the fact that I'm dumb. But in the moment of that particular situation, I am not smart enough to understand that for that session, it's over. It's over. If I keep doing what I'm doing at that moment, it's not going to happen for me. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to be a domino effect. It's going to fall. It's like in the woods and I set up some dominoes. Nobody's there. Nothing is there to interfere with the first domino being knocked down. The last one will be knocked down. It's inevitable. The critical component is for me to realize. That's the hard part. It's for me to realize I cannot do that at that moment. I don't know how to do that. As God as my witness, I have to understand at that moment there's no way for me to change the course of events that will occur, and I need to cut it at that moment. That's the definition of a stop loss. That is it. There's two stop losses. One, the hard stop loss for that particular trade, and there's also what is needed, what it needs to be employed is a stop loss in my mind that says, look, I made these trades. I got to stop. I can't trade anymore. I'm frail. I'm weak. I'm not strong. I'm not. Okay? There's statements like, there's like why statements, be strong, right? Yeah, ultimately you want to be strong. But at that moment, I'm not strong. I'm weak. I need help at that moment. I'm not the best. At that moment, I'm the worst. Okay, I'm unable to make that work at that moment. That is something that that is something that I did not understand. That is something that is this individual who has been successful at everything they did, and they were unable to figure this thing out. That's why. That is precisely why. So I have to understand that when I make the trade, and I have to scratch my head, I'm going, oh, that's why these things matter so much. Okay, so I mean, these are things that are stated based on what professional day traders talk about. One of them is when you're in a drawdown, go smaller. Now I see why. See, that statement is true, but it was not true for me. I didn't fully comprehend what they were talking about. The reason why you want to go strong is you want to have time to recover. You want some time to adjust your psychology so that your psychology has healed itself. It's just like my wrist right here, right? When I take this bandage off, it's going to have a huge gash. Because the knife that scraped across it essentially revealed the bone on my wrist. Okay? That's what happens. So what I need to do is understand that at that moment, I'm unable to be successful at that moment. I need to stop so that I can buy some time and readjust and figure this thing out later on, right? So these couple of things that I need to do now is becoming a lot more clear. It's giving me, it's helping me to make my game, make the changes in my game in order to become finally profitable. Just like that guy who has been successful at everything that they did, and it comes to this trading, they're fighting themselves. He's fighting himself because he's so successful. He cannot accept the fact that he's at that moment he cannot be successful. So he need to change his game to be successful, retool himself so they can come back. If a general committed all his soldiers at that moment in a time when the advantage is nil to none to negative, then it's over. It's over. The challenge has been defeated and you cannot come back from it. That's how it works. This is something that has been plaguing me for the past 4 years because I could not accept the fact that I'm frail. I am incapable of understanding that situation. Now I do. I accept it. I accept it. I accept the fact. And all I have to do, here's the hard part, to employ that in my trading. I have to apply that into my trading so that I will be successful. So that I will have proof. The proof is actually getting a payout. Getting to the payout is, it looks easy. All I have to do is get 8 to 10% phase 1, and then on phase 2 get 5%. And then after that, then make profit while funded, and then keep that money and then get a payout. It's so simple, right? 1, 2, 3, contact. See, everything is like melding together. There used to be a show called in PBS, 3, 2, 1, contact, right? 3, 2, 1, contact. That's it. 3, 2, 1, contact. What is that contact? It is a contact of meeting the evolutionary creator himself. Making contact and becoming finally, adding to that second factor. Yeah, I'm a professional. It's like those these people who play golf who are at the bottom of the professional league. They have to get a job to support their golf career until they become finally successful. But in the meantime, the cost of doing business is negative. That's what it is. That's the commitment that I have. May God be so kind. May God be so kind that He allows me to continue on this journey to see through it. So that's what's happening. So these two factors, one of them is I have to realize, the first and very, very important thing is I have to realize at that moment I'm not ready to take on that downtrend. That downtrend, I can't do that because I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I don't understand the market. That's why I'm losing. And if I go bigger, I'm going to lose bigger, and the account is going to be blown. That's it. It's simple. It's so simple, but it's so hard to understand at that moment. And I have to understand that it's frail. It's done. It's over with. I'm glad God provided this so that I can clearly understand. So at that moment, my mind needs to understand the reason why I'm losing is because I'm sizing too big. I need to size slow if I want to, but I need to understand that I need to stop at that moment in order to hold off any more losses. That's one. The second part is, why am I losing? Because I'm not able to use the right setup to fit that particular market situation. So the market is a beast. It does its own thing. I have to figure out how to interpret what the market is, and then fit my thesis into it, take a bag of tricks that I have and try it, okay? To mentally try it first. And then once I see it, it fits, then I go for it. And then when it fits, it does fit, then I know that the adjustments that I made is successful. That's how it works. The lacking part of it is, it's so familiar with everything. It's familiar with so many things in life. It's so many. It's like these two siblings that I had. They're able to talk to each other. They communicate. They were prepared to do whatever they were going to do beforehand, days before. Whereas I'm on the outside, not understanding what the current situation is. And so they were able to execute on their plan, their objective, to their own thinking. And they were successful. I was not. I was ill-prepared. And that is the reason why I'm in this situation. Even in football, if there's no defense, what's the point? If they have any bit of defense, then they're going to block one of the scoring drives while my team has no defense. So any attempts to score will be successful. And so I have to understand that. I have to understand at that moment. That's why there's when a team is ill prepared to take on a challenge, there's a what is that? There's a mercy rule, right? So what in the NBA, what they do is if they get ahead at a certain point, or in the NFL when they get up to a certain point, they bring in the second string and third string players so that they don't score too much. They don't want to because they want to give other people who warm the benches an opportunity to go out there and actually live the life, even for a brief moment, right? That's what they do. It's called a mercy rule. That's what they do. So I have to give myself a, I have to retool my trading to because I haven't been, I have to be very honest, I attempted to trade. I spent quite a bit, even though what I could have done is, I got to go to lunch in a little bit. What I could have done was essentially are a couple things, right? One of the things is that I know what I lack, and what I could have done was make some adjustments in my trading so that I can be profitable, in part with understanding that when the market is down, either you don't trade or you wait for a really good opportunity to get into it, because the bounce back is going to be strong. So I have to time it right. I have to understand that when trading in that particular situation is not favorable, I need to either not trade or think about how I can take advantage of it, because the pullback is going to be huge when something dips like that. The EU, for instance, EU Euro USD experienced a serious drawdown after a recent news at the beginning of this week. And what it did was it just dropped, and it slowly came back like that. I mean, it recovered and then some, right? That's what usually happens. So I have to be looking for that when certain events occur. It's not the first event that I need to be. So those are the things that I need to focus on. The two things. One of them is have a better strategy for down days. I need to look at that. I need to study Al Brooks a little more to understand. He's got a section on it. I'll study that more in depth to see if I can recognize that the events that occurs there. And the second part is I have to psychologically accept the fact that, look, at that moment, hey, it's not gonna work on that day. It's not gonna work. It is not going to work at that moment. I am incapable of taking care of things on that day. It's not possible. It's not going to be possible. I cannot do everything. Okay? I cannot do that. I am unable to. I am limited in what I can do for the preservation of working the next day, right? See, I'm a dishwasher. And although I work like a 30-year-old, I'm not. I'm a freaking 55-year-old man. I'm a 55-year-old man. I'm old. People drop off like flies nowadays at about 55 or 56, somewhere around there. They drop dead. I'll say it right there. People pass on at that age. I'm at that age. In the past, I used to wonder why old people like read the obituary and their friends are just they're disappeared. I'm old, man. I'm old. After work, it takes a lot. I mean, anyway, that's how it works. I cannot do everything, and I'm not gonna do everything, because I know my limitation. When I get back from washing dishes, I'm so freaking tired, but I have to trade. I have to. This is my future. This is the future that I have. My mind and my body has to be fresh, but it cannot be if I devote and deplete all my energy to something that I need to limit in order to advance and transition into this trading. I cannot do that. I'm not going to do that. I cannot do that. I'm too old. I have to prepare for my older age. I'm going to be 60 years old in about 5 years. 60, all my hair is going to be gray. My body's going to start aching. In order for me to prepare for that day, I need to make this work. So in order for me to make this work, I have to study this downtrending market to figure out how I can approach the downtrending market. That's one. All boats float in rising tide. It's so simple. I can do whatever I want, and as long as I don't go short, I'll make money when the market is going up. So that's easy. What is hard is making money when the market is going down. It's that distinction between the 1%er and the 99%er, being able to make money when the market is going down. That's it, right? So the first part is having a strategy to identify the downtrending market, employ the strategy in the downtrending market. That's one. That's one part of the game that's missing. That's why it's a sawtooth. It took me 4 years to figure this, to get to this point. This minutia of advancement took me 4 years. Minutia. It's a millimeter advancement from where I was. What is 1 millimeter beyond the universe? Okay, it's the same universe. The universe is endless. It's infinite. Okay, what's 1 millimeter beyond the infinite? It's infinite. So that's the first part. The second part is, look, I'm a chimp. I'm a monkey. On that particular day, I'm a monkey. I cannot change the course of events that are occurring, and I need to stop. I need to reduce my size to save myself for another frickin' day. Pardon me, God. Another frickin' day. Now let's get to payout, all right? All right, let's get to payout. God is on your side and he wants you to succeed. Okay, that's why he created you. Does that make any sense, you 55-year-old man? All right? Does that make any sense? Huh? Does it make any sense to you?